And awake we go with about 10,000 shots of espresso.
Right.
Good day from David Zublick's Awake Nation, and welcome to our guest interviews. And now to announce today's guests on the Awake Nation. Our first guest is Jesse Beltran. Jesse Beltran is a certified master hypnotist and president of Cosmic Clarity Connections, LLC. He exposes the truth behind Havana syndrome, implants, and targeting. You can find him at mindnexuslive.com. Jesse's guest today is Ido Samuelson. Ido Samuelson is a software engineer and tech leader in U.S. and Israel. He is a whistleblower and a UAP experiencer. Our next guest is Bill Gursky. Bill Gursky is the president and CEO of Borealis Threat and Risk Consulting Ltd. and a former program director for the National Security Program Hub at the University of Ottawa's Professional Development Institute, PDI. He is an author and a political commentator. You can find him at boralisthreatandrisk.com. Our next guest is Kate Shimarani. Kate was suspended by the Nursing and Midwifery Council in July of 2020 and arrested after emceeing a rally against a tyrannical lockdown and lies from the British government concerning COVID-19 and vaccinations, along with the rollout of 5G. Kate is on TNT Talk Radio Saturdays, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. You can find her at kateshimarani.com. Rounding out the final hour of David Zublick's Awake Nation is Christy Tasker. Christy Tasker is an award-winning technologist and international business consultant. Christy is also an international investigative journalist based in Miami, Florida, who is engaged in fighting the corruption in Miami in the political arena. You can find Christy at patriotsperspective.com, Christy4, the letter 4, Christy4Miami.com, and BananaRepublicNews.com. You can also find her on the Agent X11 channel. Now it's time for the interview portion of David Zublick's Awake Nation. And awake we go with a shot of espresso. It's showtime.
All righty, welcome into the third hour of the Awake Nation, your morning wake-up call that brings you the truth with a shot of espresso. I'm David Zublick.
And I'm Penny Elise Shepherd.
All right. Let's bring in our very first guest today, Jesse Beltran. And his guest, is it Ido or Ido? I'm sorry.
Ido. Yeah.
Ido Samuelson. Thank you so much for being with us. Jesse, good morning. Tell us a little bit about Ido and what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, good morning, and thank you for allowing me to have Ido on. His background and expertise in software engineering is, bar none, probably the top 5 to 3% in the world. And those of you who have been following the program know that we've been covering anomalous health incidences and know that we've been going around the United States and doing preliminary RF testing. And what we're finding with this Havana syndrome, that there are now civilian citizens that are being diagnosed with this by doctors. And the United States government still at this point is saying that the Havana syndrome only is happening to federal employees and their family members. What is interesting in our preliminary RF scans is that every person who has been diagnosed officially as a civilian with Havana syndrome is coming up positive on radio frequency scans. And what does that mean? We are pulling out biosensors out of individuals who have come up positive on those radio frequency scans. And the reason I felt it important to bring Ido in with his background and expertise, and he'll explain with you to you what that is that there is a massive agenda. Not only were you talking about the depopulation agenda that's happening worldwide, there's a strong suspicion that within that jab there was nanotech. Mm-hmm. And in our preliminary RF scans, what we're finding is after COVID, for some reason, those who are having this AHI phenomenon are coming up positive in locations that far surpass the numbers that we've seen over the last decade or two. We're traditionally, we'd see 7, 8 spots, maybe 10. Now we're getting upwards of 14 to 7 area locations where people are coming up positive. And I think what Ido is going to share with everyone is going to tie this in together. What we are looking forward to in the future is complete control and massive enslavement of the human population, along with the depopulation agenda. They're not going to need as many of us. And I'll let Ido tie this in with his experience and his opinion on the wide body area networks that we're now finding that exist. And with that, I'd like to introduce Ido.
Yeah,
Good
thank
morning, Ido. Thank you.
Yeah, I was a technical executive in a large corporation for automotive. To keep the story kind of short, I became aware that they're collecting data from vehicles. I later on understood that it's not only that they're collecting the data, they have the capabilities of what I call read and write anything to and from vehicles and also devices nearby. And I reported it to compliance. I got retaliation. Eventually, I was fired. And then I would say, when I tried to become more public about it, started suffering retaliation, both physical and cyber attacks, all the way to high probability Havana syndrome. And the more I dig into it and the more I understand what, that's I got connected to Jesse, I found out that there is high correlation between how the implants are working and how the company is collecting data from vehicles and probably from other devices as well. I discovered they had a single data center with over, I think it was over 260 petabytes of storage. On my first executive report, the second one was less than 100 petabytes, and I never got an answer why they changed the numbers. And it's a huge change. It's like a third than what I initially reported on. And yeah, so that's kind of the overall of my experience.
Okay, so you were doing some research. They found out you were doing research on this. They fired you.
Yep.
And then you said you were subject to both cyber attacks and physical retaliation. Are you talking about yourself coming under attack with Havana syndrome?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And what type of symptoms did you experience? Can you describe those symptoms?
Yeah, the symptoms was so to be more specific, right? The way it's not that I experienced stuff on my own. I had people communicating with me what I'm about to experience. So in a way, I like to speak about it that I was demonstrated a technology capability,
Right.
and it was full blown control of all of my 5 senses. So
Wow.
if it speaks about smell, sound, vision, kinetic, like feeling something crawling inside my body.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was everything. I was blown away. Again, I have big experience with software. I was the chief software architect for the border protection after what happened on 9/11. So I'm very familiar with different systems, command and control systems, and the way this operated looked very similar to it. So in a way, I felt like someone is able to control even my mood, like they have a knob and they can turn it up, turn it down. Yeah, I was quite shocked from it. To be honest, when I tried to speak about it, because I was also working on UAP kind of robotic system, I was exposed to all the UAP experiencers and abductees. And the more I think about it, although I see a difference between like what is called non-human intelligence and the Havana syndrome, I do feel that a lot of it can be explained by the technology that I was kind of demonstrated. So,
Ido, can you give everyone a little? Pardon me, Ido. Can you give a little bit of the companies and organizations that you work for? Because I want everyone to understand how credible you are. Also, that you oversaw over 100 engineers.
Yes, and I wouldn't say oversaw. I work in collaboration because my role is usually a technical one. It's not a leadership one, not a management one.
Okay.
Right? We work kind of together. But so I moved to the States to continue my work that started in Israel on the border protection system, and that was around 2007. I later on moved to work in startups. One of them was Jet.com that was sold to Walmart for about $3 billion. I was one of the first employees there. And later on, I was head of engineering for a startup that was a financial institution. It was actually a trust. And then I went back to do consulting, and I consulted to Walmart. That's where I had over like 100 engineers on my team. And I was like the technology director on the Walmart account. I worked with Walmart on site reliability engineering, the health and wellness system. So basically integrating a new platform for the health, for the clinics and the, I forgot the word right now, pharmacies. Yeah. And then I moved to automotive. I was at the technology office at automotive under strategy, focusing on what's going to happen in 5-10 years around compute, AI, networking, storage. And my responsibility was like to create a real-time cloud for the company. The reason was the company wanted to collect all the vehicles' data, and I was responsible how to make it happen. The project never saw the light of day. They kind of shut it down when I discovered they're already kind of doing that behind everyone's back. Like the customers don't know about it, the car manufacturers don't know about it, and obviously the shareholders. And that's where.
Pardon me, I'm going to interrupt for a second. What Ido is trying to share with everyone is that every vehicle out there with this newer technology is assessing your biometrics. Not only is it able to read your breathing, your heart rate, your moods. This is the type of data that is being kept and on these huge peta servers, and just it's unfathomable for the layperson to understand how much data that is, but it's all being integrated. And with the advent of AI, it is now all this metadata, which Edward Snowden had conveyed to everyone, was being collected, and it is not protected. And this is how these corporations are getting away with this and gathering this mass information on how to keep total control of us.
You said vehicle. Do you mean like in your car? It's keeping track of your biometrics?
So I'll explain. The company that I worked for, they are what is called a tier 1 supplier to automotive.
Right.
And what it means is car manufacturers actually depend on this company for all of the internal products that they provide. All the internal products are electrical components, like the advanced driving and safety, the sensors, like the LiDARs, cameras, informatics, inside the entertainment system inside the vehicle, and so on and so forth. And their products are being installed in almost every car manufacturer out there. So from General Motors, that the company came from, to Tesla. Yeah, it's like everything, everywhere.
Including Tesla. Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And the purpose of this is just to have this information on everybody who's on the road, or is there some other purpose behind this, such as let's say you have a driver that is, they're on the road and all of a sudden they have a medical emergency. The car would shut down safely so that there wasn't an accident or something along. I mean, what is the purpose behind putting this in the vehicles? Is it just to get the information?
So it's not just to get the information. So get the information is one thing, because that's when you train the AI to make better and have more autonomous decisions about driving a vehicle, right? When you speak about driverless cars,
That's coming.
autonomous cars, yeah. But for every system, there is the good part of it and the bad part of it. Because they were not transparent, and the retaliation, all of that, it more leans towards the bad part of what they're doing with the data, and that's where I need to start thinking about, okay, what a red team would do with such capabilities, and it's frightening. So if you think about the good side, yeah, I can help a driver that is having a heart attack slow down the vehicle and park on the side and call 911 and get some help, which is a good thing. I can also cause that, right? We know today enough about sound and environment stressors that I can introduce in the vehicles over a long period of time and cause the drive, to become more stressful person, even psychotic, right? So that's kind of the other part that I whistleblow about at this point.
Well, let me ask you this then. Some of these stories that we've been hearing about in the news where all of a sudden a car like in New Orleans or something goes out of control and plows into a bunch of people. Is there any possibility that these people are being programmed to do this by some sort of Havana syndrome type technology?
I wouldn't say program, but it could be manipulation. Absolutely. I would say this is too vulgar for use of such technology. It will be usually more mild and over a more longer period of time than just one accident.
Okay.
Because that will be too much of an anomaly, and it will be investigated. And if you have too many like that, too many woos, that will point back to like hardware and then the company. I think what they are doing is far more exotic and dangerous without us understanding it yet.
Yeah, I know we have short time.
Yeah.
Can you explain to the audience not only about the technology in the car, but it's able to connect with your other smart devices in the ambient environment and why that's an issue?
Yeah. So if we speak about the vehicle communication, I call it kind of remote communication. We established around 2010 what is called V2X or Vehicle 2X, right? So it's a vehicle-to-vehicle communication, vehicle-to-pedestrian communication, vehicle-to infrastructure like the lights, and so on and so forth. But those capabilities allow us also to know if there are Bluetooth devices nearby, or cell phones nearby, or laptops, or whatever is around us. If we are able to do facial recognition today with video, it's not that we need to do it in the vehicle itself. It's enough to get like once a second a frame, and I can see who the person near the vehicle, right? So there is a high probability that this data is being collected, at least like the MAC addresses and all the devices that are near vehicles. Absolutely. And more than that, because they have a what I call like a unacknowledged written write capabilities. Who knows if now they're not installing something in the vehicle that they have the capabilities to do remotely that will penetrate a device nearby, and then you get full access to that device, right?
Right.
We are pairing our devices.
So like your phone or something else in other words, the vehicle cannot connect, which we already connect the vehicles to the phones anyway.
Yeah, think about it this way. Like if I know that there is a target, and I will be very vulgar here in a way. If there is a target that has a pacemaker, for example, right?
Right.
The car can start produce some signal that will interrupt and interfere the way the pacemaker works, right? That's how dangerous this technology can be, right? No one can see it, no one can smell it, no
Now,
one can sense it.
and it doesn't require with this technology. It does not require like some of the other things that Jesse you have talked about on the program in the past. An implant in the body. We can just send signals or something, radio frequencies to do this.
Yes, yes. You need to specify the specific protocol and overload other devices. That will be probably the first thing you can do. But this is where it correlates to implants. And the way I was demonstrated, it felt like they are running programs, very similar to how I would like deploy programs in a vehicle and have them start running, right? Now, because I worked on border protection, I'm very familiar with a classified protocol around defense, and there are the playbooks that are incorporated. For example, if I detect like a license plate, right, the alert level is going up, and based on that, there is more kind of monitoring that we see around that vehicle, and the monitoring can be, completely digital with cameras and other sensor, and can be also physical. If it gets too nearby, I will send a unit, right, like a vehicle to that vehicle and investigate it even further. The way I was demonstrated, the implants, it's very, very similar to these protocols that I worked on.
Insane.
And that's where I'm very, very worried. Yeah. Now,
I mean, I've known for years that they've had something called a heart attack gun, but I am kind of a whistleblower on MK Ultra, and after my ex-husband told me something, he died 3 weeks later, actually 11 days after I confronted another individual of a heart attack.
yeah, I can tell you. Jesse, should I speak about it? Yeah.
This very same thing was attempted on Ito after he visited me.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, so you can talk about it. Yeah.
I actually had a physical threat that I will receive with a heart attack or a stroke, or they even joke around it that I didn't make the final decision yet, but it will come. And within 2 weeks, I had like two clogs in my heart. And I had to get like 2 stents. Yeah.
Oh
Good
my God.
Mm-hmm.
Now you said you discovered a data center that is storing all this information.
Yeah. I know
Is
that
it
that's
just
know where
one,
it is?
Ito,
You know where-
or is it the Utah data center, which stores petabytes of information? There's many different data centers. Which one did you discover?
No, so this one was company owned. It's in Rhino. I don't think it's operational anymore. I think they moved everything out. There is high probability also they moved this data collection out of US to India, because India now there is no regulation.
Was it private?
Yes, it was company owned.
So it's not the NSA that, like
It
the
could
Utah
be.
data center.
Look, this technology has to be correlated to NSA. There is no doubt in my mind there is no NSA behind it.
So these companies, although private, could be subcontractors for the government.
Oh yeah, the company I worked for is a subcontractor for the government. I can tell you that they even acquired another company called Wind River. They built the operating system, and that will kind of close the circle for all of it. They have an operating system that it's military grade. It runs on U.S. military crafts like the F-35, F-22 tanks, the rover on Mars, and also on 5G towers, right? So now, when we have this capability, we can speak that they can literally hide this entire communication from cellular tower companies, right? So no one will even know that someone is transmitting something. They can literally hide it because they write the operating system. Right?
Wow. And so many people have no idea this is going on.
Yeah.
That's why we love having Jesse on the program. You're exposing so much information, and you are too as well, Ito. So this is
Yes, Jesse, can we bring him back?
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. It's important. Yeah, it's important. And I don't want everyone to understand something, why I brought Ito on. Ito is a wealth of knowledge and a very gifted individual. and he has engaged in technology that most lay people will never even fathom in their lives. And every time he's attempted to get this out there, it's been shut down. So this is going to be the first time that he's, the second time that he's had a platform that I've given him the opportunity to come out here and tell his story and share this with the world. It's important that he gets this out there because not only him being out in the forefront, at least he gets to tell his story. And if anything were to happen, at least we have his story documented. Heaven forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this will be archived on our site. I'll save a personal copy of this particular episode as well, so that we have it. You're quite a hero there, Ido. I mean, I'm sure that now you said you've been shut down other times. Are you concerned about your life?
Yes, and my family's life.
And your family's life.
Yeah.
Do you know if your family's already been threatened?
So the threats are very subtle, right?
Right.
The harassments are very subtle. It's never direct, like, hey, we're going to kill you, right? It's over like a conversation you hear near you, about you, but they don't speak about like to you, right? Yeah, I had so many conversations, like private conversation with my wife at home or with the kids, that someone is repeating like in a grocery store or something, right? And I get like stunned, like what the hell, right? I'm constantly being reminded that I'm being monitored. At least once a week or even more, I get like a text message from an unknown number. Hey, how are you? How's your family? Right?
Oh, wow. That's frightening.
Yeah. So it's all the plausible deniability, but that's a little bit, overt when they start sending the text messages like that.
Yeah.
And all these capabilities, again, it points to me like a command and control system, mostly running by NSA, that someone is subsidizing to corporation to use to silence me or other whistleblowers. And again, when we speak about target individuals, now it's at scale. So it looks like there is an entire commerce or marketplace, I would say, that is covered around the use of this technology.
Well, Ido, I definitely want to have you back on the program again, just if it's okay with Jesse and everything. I think we have a lot more to explore here. How widespread do you think this is right now?
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
So there are people being manipulated, controlled, attacked, and of course, a lot of them are written off as being mentally ill. Or some, you try to bring people's attention. I wonder if, I hate to say this, but we were talking about her earlier, Penny. Is there any possibility that somebody like a Wendy Williams is being 5150, something like this? She's coming under attack.
Yes, absolutely. And whatever she knows about, and I'm just going to say her knowledge in the military industrial entertainment complex regarding Diddy would be enough for her to be a targeted individual.
Well, Jesse, where can people get a hold of you? And please bring Ido back. But if people want more information, either to report this to you, to contribute in any way, through donations or through information, how do they do it?
Yeah, you can contact us at www.nexuslive.com and just sign up on our email list, and then you can send any message you want at any length on that platform. And our staff has been really, really great about getting back to everyone in a really, really quick manner. So yeah, that's the best way to get a hold of us.
All right, very good. And we will continue. We'll post, of course, the link to all of this on our website, theawakenation.com, and on the description of today's program. I want to thank both of you for coming on today and enlightening us, and we definitely look forward to having you back. Ido and Jesse, of course, as always, thank you for all that you're doing, and we appreciate the both of you.
Thank you. You guys have a great
Thank
day.
you for having us.
Thank you.
Ido Samuelson, and of course, Jesse Beltran here on the Awake Nation. This is incredible. But it's happening, folks. It really, really is happening.